We are previewing Week 2 in the NFL here at SBR Forum Videos. I'm Peter Loshak, and right now we're going to get to our preview of the Monday Night Football game between Denver and Atlanta. And, of course, we do every Monday Night Football game with a panel of guests because it's such an important game. We can't just have one expert opinion. We need to have at least two. And tonight, our two opinions are returning guest Scott Kellen from SixCentSports.com and John Rothschild from SafestWagering.net. John, let's start with you because you specifically indicated to me earlier in the week that you have an opinion on this game, on one of the lines. The Falcons are a 3-point home favorite, and the total is 51. Now, I was very impressed by Denver in their first game against Pittsburgh, and I liked them to cover that spread, and they did. And I'm thinking that I'm liking them here again. Just because I'm a believer in Peyton Manning, I think it might be worth a shot taking him at an outright win at plus odds. The Falcons do have a lot of weapons on offense, and they also sort of have a similar offense to Denver with a no-huddle offense, throwing a bunch of receivers all over the field. But they do lose a corner for this one, and I'm just thinking Peyton Manning, underdog Monday night. I'll take it. What do you think?
I might agree with you. I'm going to let you know at the end of the call. Before we start, I'd like to tell you that Matt Ryan and I, we played together at the same prep school. He's been a little more successful than I have been so far. It's sort of tough to judge after.
Wait, was that a joke, or you played football?
Yeah, played lacrosse in college. I played everything. Yeah.
Let me take a look at you. I'm looking at you right now. I'm not seeing football player here. I'm just
Peter. They used to hand me the ball and I would run as fast as I could.
Really? And then did they stuff you in like a garbage can? No, I'm kidding around. No, all right. What prep school was that? Where was that?
I played sports in college too.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's excellent. That's very impressive. Yeah, I used to play.
Some guys you've heard of.
I actually played cornerback for the Jets for a few years. I wasn't that good, but I was all right. All right, so move on. What do you think of this game? So you played with Matt Ryan.
I did not play with Matt Ryan. I played at the same school that Matt Ryan played.
Okay.
Anyway, here's what I see happening tonight. As I said, Brent Grimes is out. You've got replacements. You've got Gunter Robinson and Asante Samuel, who they got from the Eagles for a 6th-round pick. Asante is kind of a guy who plays off the receiver. He can get caught making mistakes, although he's very quick and gets a lot of interceptions. I think Manning may be able to take advantage of that. Last week, Atlanta had a nice second half against KC, but they forced 2 fumbles, 1 was recovered, and they had 2 interceptions. I don't think that's going to happen this season or this game. The other issue that I think you've got is their running game. Atlanta only had 80-some yards last week rushing. I think Michael Turner might be wearing down a little bit. I think that Atlanta might be sort of a one-option team tonight, maybe relegated to more passing. I'm going to agree with you. I like Denver. I like the points. They may be able to win this game straight up.
All right, so Scott Kellen, I'm thinking of taking a small shot, with the Broncos as a dog. I don't think it's, huge value, but I do think there might be small but clear value there. Do you agree?
I think, Peter, I think it kind of depends on where the line goes here. I've got situations going both ways in this game, but it kind of depends what the line is. So for me, Atlanta qualifies in a home momentum situation that's 91, 47, and 10, but it only applies if the line's 3 or less. Meanwhile, the Broncos actually qualify in a very good fundamental rushing situation of mine that's got over 1,000 samples to it. So it's been a very solid situation. They don't actually qualify in the best situation, the best subset of that situation. But I guess basically if this line went to 3.5, of course Atlanta would not qualify in the situation I spoke about, and I'd probably be more inclined to lean to Denver. But, as you guys talked about, with Grimes being out, at the cornerback position, that's a huge blow to Atlanta. The position I kind of like in this game, maybe more than anything, even though it's kind of a high total, is probably the over in the game. Atlanta's offense is vastly better this year. Julio Jones has really stepped up and looks like he's going to take it to another level this year. And, of course, all the other weapons that they've got on offense. And you look back, Atlanta last year at home, they scored 35, 14, 31, 23, 24, 41, 45 points. They put up 40 last week. This offense can score, and against good offenses at home last year, they allowed 31 to Philly, 25 to Green Bay, and 26 to New Orleans. So they're going to give up points as well, but they're certainly, I think, capable of obviously scoring, especially at home. and especially because this offense is more of a throw mode type offense, and they've got great receivers now for them to throw to. On the other side, obviously we saw last week with Denver and going with a no huddle, or I think as they referred to it as kind of a muddle offense, where Manning at least gets up there to the line of scrimmage and kind of looks at a no huddle type look, but he may take a while to actually get into the play. I look back at when Manning was with Indy, and obviously it's a different team and whatnot, but I think they've got enough good weapons on offense at Denver to kind of do some sort of comparison. Peyton Manning in an offense just screams that offense is going to be efficient. And if you look back the last 4 years when Peyton Manning was at Indy, which is 32 road games, only 3 of those games did they score less than 20 points. There was actually a fourth game, but it was at Buffalo end of the year. He didn't play very long in that game at all. So when Peyton Manning runs an offense, they score points. And I don't see any way that Denver doesn't get into the 20s in this game. And basically what I just laid out with Atlanta and their improved offense, I don't see any way that they don't get into the 20s either. Obviously, 51 points is still a lot of points. But I think one team will get to the 30s in this game, and the other team's going to get to at least 20. I think the best look is probably the over. Again, a high total, though, although it's in a controlled environment, being in a dome. High total, though, if things don't go right, obviously the game could end up not going over. But I think it's got a really good chance of going over, and I would probably lean towards Denver. The other thing I would say on this, if you don't play the total and this game starts out a little lower scoring, kind of like the Denver-Pittsburgh game last week, whether you're doing in-game betting or halftime, you should get a decent line, and you could pop the over at that point as well if this thing starts out a little bit slower.
Wow. Awesome input and analysis, Scott. That's why you're on this. That's why we have you as a featured NFL guy for our Monday night calls. And based on what you're saying, I'm thinking Broncos team total over. Right now, that should be about 24 based on the spread and the total. That's looking pretty tasty to me too, right?
Yeah, I would agree. I think 24 or less, and obviously I think we spoke about this last week on one of the team totals. If you could find 23.5 or something, that would be great. You're probably not going to see that, but
no.
24 or less, and 24 is a key number. I think you could certainly take a shot, absolutely.
I like it. Thanks, Scott.